The stars stretched endlessly, glittering like cold jewels in the black sea of space. The Terran vessel Aurora drifted silently among them, its sleek hull reflecting distant suns. Inside, Captain Elias Novak stared at the galactic map projected in front of him. They were far beyond the edges of known human space, entering the territory of the Trian Dominion, a species infamous across the galaxy for their intelligence, power, and ruthlessness. "Captain, sensors are detecting multiple Trian fleets ahead," reported Lieutenant Sarah Hall. Her voice trembled slightly, but her eyes were sharp. "They're expecting us." Elias frowned. "Expected or underestimated, Sarah? Remember, this is our first contact. They might think we're just another primitive race." "Primitive?" The communications officer, Malak, scoffed. "Primitive? We invented quantum phase drives. We've survived in environments that would melt their exosuits." Elias allowed a small smile. "Exactly. They don't know us yet. And that's our advantage." The Trian ships appeared, their crystalline hulls glinting in the starlight. They moved like living beings, elegant yet menacing, their formations precise as if guided by a single mind. Through the comms, a voice rang out, cold, melodic, and clearly superior. "Humans of Earth, you are trespassing in Dominion space. Surrender your vessel and your crew for inspection. Resistance will be met with extermination." Elias's jaw tightened. "This is Captain Elias Novak of the Terran vessel Aurora. We come in peace, but we will not surrender." "Explain this. Why are you afraid of a single ship?" There was a long pause. Then the Trian replied, "Fear is not the word. Curiosity. How does a species so young reach this far? Yet your presence challenges our order. Prepare to be terminated if you resist." The human crew exchanged uneasy glances. Outside, the Trian fleet began to maneuver, positioning themselves like predators around a trapped prey. But Elias remained calm, almost serene. "Open a channel to the Horizon fleet," he ordered. "We'll send a diplomatic envoy." Minutes later, the human envoy pod drifted toward the Trian. The aliens studied it, scanning every detail, yet showing no hostility. Then the pod's hologram activated, displaying Elias in full. "We do not seek war," he said, voice steady. "But know this, humans survive against odds that others cannot comprehend. You will see our capabilities not in threats but in strategy, intelligence, and creativity. Underestimate us at your peril." The Trian leader, a being of crystalline facets shifting with emotion, spoke slowly. "Your words are curious, but words do not change reality. You are fragile. You will die quickly." "Fragile, yes," Elias admitted. "But adaptable. Smart. Dangerous when cornered. You will understand that soon." Then the unexpected happened. A small Trian drone darted forward, faster than human sensors could track. It exploded near the human envoy pod, but the humans were ready. With a precise micromatrix countersignal, they disarmed the drone before it caused damage. The Trian were silent. It was the first time they had been outmaneuvered. Elias used the pause to continue, voice firm. "This is not war. Consider it a test of wits. And humans always play to win." Sarah leaned over, whispering, "Captain, they've never seen anything like us." Elias nodded. "Good. Let them think it's luck. Later they'll know it's intelligence." The Trian fleet suddenly split, moving into unexpected formations. Their leader's voice echoed across the void. "Interesting. Humans, your species may not be as simple as we assumed. Prepare for inspection or face elimination." The humans watched the alien ships close in. It was an impossible situation, one where raw firepower could destroy them in minutes. Yet inside the Aurora, tension mixed with excitement. "This is it," Malak said softly, "the moment humans show what we're made of." Elias turned to his crew, eyes burning with determination. "Prepare all defensive systems. And remember, we are underestimated. That is our greatest weapon. Intelligence, cunning, and creativity. That is what will define us. Not size, not numbers, but the mind." Outside, the Trian fleet shimmered, vast and terrifying. Inside, humanity's heart beat steadily, calm and calculating. They were the underdogs, yes, but underdogs with a spark that could ignite the stars. And somewhere deep in the Trian leader's crystalline consciousness, a ripple of uncertainty spread. For the first time they wondered, had they misjudged humanity? The first shots, or perhaps the first moves of a chess game that would span light years, were about to begin. The void between the stars became a chessboard of unimaginable scale. Trian ships, vast crystalline leviathans, moved with fluid precision, scanning every point around the Aurora. Humans had only one small vessel against dozens of superior fleets, yet Captain Elias Novak felt no fear. The moment to prove humanity's cunning had come. "Lieutenant Hall, project the escape routes," Elias ordered. His fingers danced across the console, highlighting hyperlane corridors, asteroid fields and gravitational anomalies. "We're going to turn their confidence into confusion." Sarah's eyes widened. "Captain, you want to lure an entire fleet into an asteroid field?" Elias nodded. "Exactly. Their sensors are sophisticated, but they think in straight lines, in predictable patterns. Humans don't." The Aurora's engines flared as the ship darted toward a dense asteroid cluster. The Trion followed, elegant and deadly, their crystalline hulls reflecting every beam of light, their movements like dancers on a stage of war. But as they entered the field, human ingenuity took the lead. "Deploy microdisruptors," Elias commanded. Tiny drones erupted from the Aurora, spinning at impossible speeds, creating optical illusions and false sensor readings. Trion formations wavered. Their fleet tried to maintain cohesion, but their sophisticated algorithms struggled against chaos designed by human intuition. One Trion commander's voice crackled over comms, sharp and disbelieving. "What is this? Our calculations are failing. They should be dead." "They're human," Malik said quietly, awe in his voice. "They improvise." Elias smiled. "Exactly. Let them think they're still winning. Keep the tension high." The humans led the Trion deeper into the asteroid field. Rocks larger than cities spun silently, threatening to crush ships with careless movements. Yet the humans navigated with a grace that even the Trion could not anticipate. Suddenly, a massive rock shifted, narrowly missing the Aurora. Warning alarms blared. "Captain?" Sarah shouted. "That was too close." "Good," Elias said. "The closer they think they are to victory, the faster they fall into the trap." Behind them, the Trion fleet collided with smaller asteroids. A crystalline vessel shattered, sending fragments scattering like deadly rain. Another tried to swerve and collided with a comet, its hull cracking. The humans watched, calculating every moment, ready to escape if needed. Then Elias sent a coded signal to Horizon Fleet Command, hidden far outside Trion space. "Initiate secondary phase," he whispered. Suddenly, human mining stations across nearby systems activated, transforming into automated defense networks. They emitted ion pulses, electronic countermeasures and holographic decoys. The Trion fleet, now caught between human cleverness and a web of traps, faltered. The Trion leader's voice returned, trembling for the first time. "Humans, this is unacceptable. You are small, fragile and yet dangerous. What is this madness?" Elias leaned forward, voice calm and precise. "This is survival and ingenuity. You studied us, expecting weakness. You did not anticipate strategy, creativity, or the refusal to surrender. This is what humans are." Outside, the final stage of the trap unfolded. The asteroid field compressed under gravitational micromanipulators deployed by human drones. Trion ships were forced into tight corridors, unable to maneuver effectively. One by one, their massive vessels were damaged, forced to retreat, or trapped entirely. Sarah could hardly contain her excitement. "Captain, they're falling apart." Elias' eyes never left the screens. "They've underestimated us. Remember this moment. Never underestimate a species that adapts, that calculates, that surprises. That is humanity." But even as triumph filled the bridge, political tensions in the galaxy stirred. News of the encounter leaked through Trion channels, reaching the Andari Conclave, the Kryn Federation, and countless smaller civilizations. Whispers spread like wildfire: humans survived against the Trion Dominion. Ambassadors across the stars debated furiously. Some feared a new galactic power rising. Others dismissed it as luck. But for the humans it was clear. The galaxy had misjudged them, and now the pieces were set for a far larger game. Back on the Aurora, Elias allowed a rare moment of levity. "Send a message to the Trion fleet," he ordered. "Tell them, humans play chess while others play checkers." Malik hesitated, grinning. "You think they'll understand?" "They'll understand soon enough," Elias replied. "They'll never forget the name of Earth." Meanwhile, the Trion convened an emergency council on their homeworld, a planet of shimmering crystal spires under twin suns. High chancellors argued over human unpredictability. One elder, his facets dim with worry, whispered, "They are not like us. They are a storm. A storm that cannot be contained by force alone." The warning sent ripples through interstellar politics. Allied species watched cautiously. The Andari, masters of espionage and manipulation, debated whether to ally with humans, or crush them before they became too dangerous. Even the Kryn, known for their cold logic, began reassessing their plans. For humanity, the true victory was more than survival. It was revelation. The galaxy now knew humans were clever, adaptable, and dangerously intelligent. The first gambit had succeeded. And yet, in the shadows, a new threat stirred. The Trian Dominion, humiliated but not defeated, began a covert operation that would test every ounce of human cunning, resilience, and courage. Elias Novak stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the stars. This is only the beginning. They may be stronger, faster, and older, but they've never faced humans like us. And they will learn, in ways they cannot imagine. Outside, the stars gleamed indifferently. But humanity had sent a spark into the galaxy, a spark that would ignite wars, alliances, and legends. The first gambit had been won, but the war for respect, survival, and supremacy had only just begun. The victory in the asteroid field was just the first spark. The galaxy was awakening to the truth. Humans were not mere newcomers, they were unpredictable, clever, and dangerous. Captain Elias Novak stood on the bridge of the Aurora, gazing at the distant Trian homeworld. They think a single ship taught us a lesson. But the real game is just beginning, he murmured. Lieutenant Sarah Hall leaned over the console, tracing routes between the Trian territories and human-aligned systems. Captain, if we push forward, we can secure alliances before the Trian regroup. The Andari and Kryn will watch, waiting for the first sign of weakness. Then we show them we have no weakness, Elias replied. Prepare the envoys. We're not just surviving anymore, we're leading. Human envoys traveled faster than any traditional diplomacy, arriving at the Andari conclave. The Andari, a race of sinewy, serpentine beings with translucent skins that reflected ambient light, greeted them with cautious suspicion. High Counselor Vale hissed, voice dripping with calculated curiosity, "Humans, you survived the Trian. Explain how." Elias stepped forward, calm and measured. "We survive because we think differently. Where others see strength, we see weakness. Where others see predictability, we see opportunity. We do not merely fight, we anticipate. That is humanity's advantage." Vale's eyes narrowed. "And you seek allies. Why should we trust a species so audacious?" "Because the galaxy is bigger than any one race," Elias said. "And survival requires intelligence, creativity, and cooperation. Join us, or watch from the shadows while humans carve their path through the stars." It was a subtle threat, delivered with elegance. The Andari murmured among themselves, calculating the risks. For centuries, no one had dared speak so boldly to them. They were impressed, and wary. Meanwhile, the Kryn Federation, masters of strategic warfare and espionage, watched the humans from afar. Their representative, Commander Drash, sent a single signal to the Trian. "Humans are not what they appear. Do not underestimate them. But neither do we invite alliance, yet." The galaxy was beginning to shift. Alliances formed not on fear but on calculated respect. Back aboard the Aurora, human engineers worked furiously, retrofitting the ship for the next stage of conflict. Advanced cloaking systems, microwarp jump capabilities, and modular weapons arrays transformed the vessel into a ghost in the void, a predator the Trian could not predict. "Captain," Sarah said, monitoring the approaching Trian fleets, "they're probing human-aligned systems. Spies, scouts, they want to see if we've grown complacent." Elias's lips curved into a smile. "Then let them see what humans can do when underestimated." The first engagement of this new phase happened above the planet Vorthal, a water world with storms that could tear ships apart. The Trian, confident in their superiority, dispatched a fleet to strike the human mining stations that had assisted in the previous ambush. Elias waited, calculating every possibility. "Deploy decoy satellites," he ordered, "and activate adaptive energy grids. Let them think the stations are defenseless." As the Trian entered orbit, expecting an easy victory, the humans struck. Energy nets fired from the stations, forming shifting barriers that disrupted Trian sensors. Cloaked human ships emerged from hidden positions, striking with pinpoint precision. The Trian ships, unable to adapt quickly, suffered critical damage. One Trian vessel erupted in a burst of crystal shards, its destruction echoing across the void. Another was forced to retreat, limping toward a distant system. From the Trian flagship, the leader's voice rang out, sharp and incredulous. "Impossible. This is human? You fight without patterns, without logic, and yet, you win." Elias responded via hologram, calm but commanding. Your logic is limited by your own assumptions. Humans survive by anticipating the unexpected. You have underestimated us. That is your mistake. The Trian fleet for the first time hesitated. Their famed discipline cracked under a combination of human ingenuity, deception, and rapid adaptation. Yet the human victory was not without cost. The Aurora sustained minor damage, and the crew felt the pressure of a galaxy-wide stage. But for Elias, the lesson was clear. Humans were no longer underdogs. Every confrontation, every calculated risk, every surprise tactic reinforced humanity's reputation as a species the galaxy could neither ignore nor control. In the shadows, other races watched. The Andari began covertly sharing technology with humans, not out of friendship, but to see if their methods could be replicated. The Kryn considered sabotage, testing whether humanity's rise could be stopped before it threatened their strategic dominance. Even within the Trian Dominion, doubt spread. Crystalline elders whispered in fractured tones, "They are chaos incarnate. They are small, yet they bend the universe to their will. Can such beings truly be contained?" On the bridge of the Aurora, Elias gazed at the star systems ahead. "This is only the beginning," he said softly. "We've survived, we've proven our mind, and we've earned respect, but the galaxy will challenge us. And we will rise to meet it. Not because we are strong but because we are human. Because we think, adapt, and never give up." The stars stretched endlessly before them. Somewhere, the Trian plotted revenge, the Andari watched closely, and the Kryn waited in silent calculation. But for humanity, the void was no longer a place of fear, it was a stage. A stage for ingenuity. For cunning. For dominance born not from size but from mind and spirit. And as the Aurora leapt toward the next system, cloaked and unseen, a single thought echoed in every human heart. We are underestimated. That is our power. The galaxy whispered with fear and fascination. Humans had survived impossible odds, fought the Trian Dominion to a stalemate, and begun to assert influence over other races. But with attention came danger. Every victory painted a target on humanity, and now the shadows of espionage, sabotage, and deceit stretched across the stars. On the Aurora, Captain Elias Novak observed the calm of interstellar space with a wary eye. "Sarah," he said quietly, "they're learning. They're studying us. And in study they plot." Lieutenant Sarah Hall frowned. "The Andari have been sending envoys to our fleets. But it's different this time, it's not diplomacy. They're probing, testing reactions, gathering data." Elias nodded. "That is exactly what we expected. And it is exactly why we must anticipate what they cannot predict." The first strike came unexpectedly. In orbit above the mining colony on Kydros Prime, alarms blared as power grids faltered and automated defenses shut down. A small fleet of cloaked Trian raiders appeared, striking at the heart of human infrastructure with surgical precision. Malek, the communications officer, shouted over the chaos. "Captain." They knew exactly where to hit. It's like they were inside our systems. Elias clenched his jaw. Not inside, predicting. Their intelligence network is good, but it cannot outthink humans when humans create chaos. He tapped into the colony's emergency control console. "Activate countermeasures Delta 1. Deploy holographic decoys and scramble telemetry. Let them think they've crippled us. Then we'll show them the real strength of humanity." The raiders struck, believing victory was assured. But instead of retreating, they triggered human traps. Energy nets rose from the planet's surface, magnetic fields reversed, and decoy satellites created phantom fleets. The Trian ships found themselves caught in a web of misdirection. One vessel collided with a mining asteroid, another was shredded by automated laser turrets. From the Trian flagship, the crystalline commander's voice rang with incredulity. "Impossible. Every maneuver we anticipated, and yet you survive." Elias activated the comms, his calm voice cutting through the tension. "Expecting predictability is a mistake you have made twice now. Humans survive because we adapt, improvise, and do not repeat patterns. That is our power. That is why you fail." But the humans knew the battle above Kydros was only the beginning. The Trian were learning, adapting, and preparing their most formidable offensive yet. In the galactic capital of Andari, Counselor Vale observed reports streaming in from Kydros. "Humans are dangerous. They are unpredictable, and they win," he said, his translucent scales flickering nervously. "We have underestimated them for too long." Yet the Andari were not the only ones watching. The Kryn Federation, calculating in their cold, precise manner, decided on a different approach. Sabotage. Espionage. If humans were to rise, it would be necessary to test the limits of their ingenuity, and perhaps find a weakness. Meanwhile, Elias convened a council aboard the Aurora. "We're no longer just fighting fleets," he said. "We're fighting shadows. Intelligence networks, spies, sabotage attempts. Every victory has painted a target on our backs. We must anticipate attacks that come not from brute force, but from deception." Sarah leaned forward. "Captain, we've detected anomalies in our communications logs. Someone has been feeding false data. Could be Tryon, could be Kryn agents." Elias's eyes narrowed. "Then we turn the shadows against themselves. Prepare a counterintelligence protocol. Feed them information that is half-truth, half-trap. Let them think they understand us, and then strike where they least expect." The next weeks were a dangerous dance. Human intelligence operatives worked alongside Andari defectors who secretly admired human ingenuity. False transmissions were sent across the galaxy, hinting at weaknesses, while secret fleets moved in hidden hyperlanes. Every human move was calculated to mislead the Tryon and Kryn alike. And then came the boldest deception. The Tryon Dominion, believing they had discovered the location of a critical human staging base, launched a strike fleet to annihilate it. Humans prepared a minimal force, leaving most stations appearing vulnerable. When the Tryon fleet arrived, they were met not with surrender, but with a devastating ambush. Entire asteroid fields were electrified with human-deployed energy nets. Cloaked human frigates struck at vulnerable points in the Tryon formation. Automated defenses turned the supposed base into a fortress of invisible death. One by one, the Tryon vessels were disabled or destroyed. Communications were cut. Crystalline hulls shattered in brilliant explosions. For the first time, the Tryon commander admitted defeat, not with anger but with astonishment. "Humans, you do not fight like any species we have known. Your cunning is absolute." Elias's voice carried across the void. "Cunning, yes. But more than that, humans adapt. Humans survive. And humans never surrender. That is why we are underestimated, and that is why we will endure." The galaxy took notice. News of the ambush spread faster than light through subspace channels. The Andari, Kryn, and even neutral species began to understand the new reality. Humans were not just survivors, they were apex strategists. They could outthink fleets, outmaneuver spies, and survive attacks that would have destroyed entire civilizations. Yet with every triumph came cost. Human losses were minimal but significant. The stress on crews, the strain on alliances, and the constant need for vigilance weighed heavily on Captain Novak. He knew the Tryon would not forget Kydros, and they would return, stronger, faster, and more cunning than ever. In the quiet moments standing on the bridge, Elias whispered almost to himself, "We've turned shadows into weapons. We've shown the galaxy that thinking is stronger than brute force. But the real test is yet to come. The Tryon will not forgive, and the galaxy will challenge us at every turn." Somewhere in the void, across star systems and political boundaries, the Tryon plotted. The Kryn calculated. Even the Andari, wary of human brilliance, adjusted their strategies. But humanity had a secret weapon no one else could replicate: the human mind itself, unpredictable, relentless, and ingenious. And that weapon was only beginning to be fully unleashed. The galaxy had begun to tremble at the name of humanity. From the shattered fleets of the Tryon Dominion to the whispered corridors of the Kryn Federation, every power now knew one simple truth: humans were not to be underestimated. Yet for Captain Elias Novak, triumph was only the beginning. They had survived raids, espionage, and sabotage, but now the Tryon were regrouping. Their fleets were larger, their tactics sharper, and their resolve hardened by humiliation. A direct confrontation loomed, one that could decide the fate of multiple star systems. On the bridge of the Aurora, the human fleet gathered, sleek warships glinting against the backdrop of distant suns. Admiral Liera Chin, commanding the Horizon, approached Elias. "Captain, intelligence reports indicate a Tryon superfleet, over 5 times our size, moving through the Caldrus expanse. Their target appears to be human-aligned systems, including mining colonies and research hubs." Elias's expression was unreadable, calm as ever. "Then we make them think they hold the advantage. Let them believe numbers guarantee victory. But humans win not by numbers, but by ingenuity." Lieutenant Sarah Hall leaned over the navigation console. "Captain, if we do this, the risk is enormous. We're talking about one human fleet versus a fleet capable of obliterating us in minutes." Elias nodded. "And yet, the impossible is what humans do best." The plan was audacious. The humans would lead the Tryon fleet into the Atheron Rift, a region of space notorious for its gravitational anomalies, electromagnetic storms, and unstable wormholes. Conventional wisdom said no fleet could maneuver there effectively, but humans thrived on unconventional tactics. Prepare the fleet, Elias ordered. Deploy decoy vessels ahead of schedule. Set false hyperlane signals. We want them chasing ghosts before they even reach us. As the Trion approached, their crystalline ships gleamed like predators under twin suns. On board their flagship, the Trion commander's facets shimmered with cold calculation. Humans, you are bold, but boldness does not equate to survival. Engage and destroy them. The battle began in silence, sudden and shocking. Cloaked human frigates emerged from the Atheron Rift's electromagnetic storms, striking the Trion vanguard with precision energy bursts. Decoy vessels emitting false signals of large fleets drew the Trion into unstable sectors. Explosions of crystalline shards erupted as the first Trion ships collided with gravitational anomalies. Others, attempting evasive maneuvers, were shredded by human weapon arrays calibrated to exploit the rift's instability. Admiral Chen's voice came over comms, calm but excited. Captain, the plan is working. They're falling into every trap. Elias's eyes gleamed. Let them think it's luck. The moment they believe in luck, they underestimate human strategy. And then came the twist. From the shadows of a nearby asteroid belt, humans launched the Phoenix Protocol, an experimental weapon system combining gravitational manipulation, energy disruption, and phased stealth assault. Entire segments of the Trion fleet were rendered immobile, their crystalline hulls vibrating until fissures appeared. On board the Trion flagship, the commander's voice was almost a whisper of disbelief. How can one species think in such layers? Every move we anticipated, every trap we planned, and still they survive. Elias activated the fleet-wide comms, his voice calm, steady, and resolute. You have underestimated humans at every turn. You judged us by size, by speed, by predictable thought. But we survive because we adapt, we think, we innovate. That is why humanity endures where others fail. The battle raged across the Atheron Rift. Hyperlane traps drew portions of the Trion fleet into wormhole anomalies. Cloaked human frigates struck from multiple angles. Automated stations fired energy beams with pinpoint accuracy. It was chaos, a ballet of destruction orchestrated with human precision. And yet, amid the triumph, Elias knew the real victory lay not in destruction but in psychology. The Trion for the first time were broken not physically but mentally. Their pride, their certainty, their belief in superiority shattered. From the shattered remnants of the Trion fleet, the commander sent a single message, his crystalline voice trembling with awe. Humans, you are beyond calculation. We cannot predict you. Elias allowed himself a small smile. That is the human advantage. We are unpredictable. We adapt. And we never surrender. Across the galaxy, news of the Atheron Rift Gambit spread like wildfire. Andari envoys whispered in awe. Kryn strategists recalculated centuries of assumptions. Even neutral species began to rethink their approach to humanity. But the triumph came at a cost. Several human ships were damaged and the strain on crews tested the limits of endurance. Elias looked at his officers and said, "Remember this day. Not because we won the battle, but because we taught the galaxy what it means to underestimate humanity." As the human fleet regrouped, Elias contacted the remaining Trion leadership. "We offer peace, not surrender. Learn from this and the galaxy will be stronger. Refuse and humanity will continue to rise, faster and smarter than you can comprehend." The Trion commander's response was hesitant. You are unlike anything we have faced. We will consider your terms." Elias turned to his crew, voice low but resolute. "Today we showed the galaxy that intelligence, strategy, and human will are stronger than brute force. But remember, this is only one battle. There will be others. And humanity will always be ready." Outside the ship, stars shimmered indifferently, unaware of the minds shaping the fate of worlds. But humanity had sent a signal stronger than any fleet could convey. We are clever, we endure, and we cannot be controlled. The Apex Gambit had succeeded. The Trion Dominion had been shattered, alliances were realigned, and the galaxy now knew a chilling truth. Humans were a force beyond prediction and their rise had only just begun. And somewhere, across the void, a new calculation formed in alien minds. How do you contain a species that does not fight like any other? The stars seemed calm, but the calm was deceptive. Across the galaxy, intelligence networks buzzed with urgency. Every major civilization knew that humanity had shattered the Trion Dominion in the Atheron Rift. Yet where others saw victory, the Trion saw only humiliation and vengeance. On board the Aurora, Captain Elias Novak reviewed the latest intelligence reports with grim focus. "The Trion are regrouping faster than anticipated," he said, his voice steady. "They've sent envoys to every major race, calling for a coalition against us. And the Kryn are coordinating their fleets with them." Lieutenant Sarah Hall's fingers flew over the console. "Captain, if they unite, they could outnumber us 10-1. Every fleet, every system aligned against humans. The galaxy itself might turn into a battlefield." Elias leaned forward, eyes burning with determination. "Then we remind them why humans survive. Not by numbers, not by size, but by intelligence, ingenuity, and resolve. This is the final reckoning." The first sign came near the gas giant Tavros 9. A massive Trion fleet, reinforced by Kryn dreadnoughts, emerged from hyperlane shadows. They moved in perfect formation, crystalline and metallic ships gleaming with deadly precision. From the flagship, the Trion commander's voice cut through the void. "Elias Novak, you have caused humiliation beyond calculation. Today the galaxy will punish you. Surrender now or be erased from existence." Elias's response was calm, unwavering. "You speak of erasure. Yet you underestimate humans again. We fight not because we are many, but because we are unpredictable, intelligent, and unstoppable when cornered. Try and you will see the truth." The first wave of combat was brutal. Trion energy lances lit the void, tearing through asteroids and smaller human ships. Kryn frigates darted with precision, attempting to cut off the human fleet. For a moment, it seemed as if the galaxy itself conspired against them. But humans had prepared for this. Hidden fleets emerged from unstable wormholes, their approach invisible to conventional sensors. Cloaked frigates struck the flanks of the Trion formation. Automated stations, previously disguised as empty mining platforms, opened fire with energy beams tuned to the enemy's crystalline resonance. Admiral Liera Chen's voice rang over comms, fierce and resolute. "Captain, our forces are striking in perfect sync. The enemy's formation is breaking." Elias nodded. "Remember, Sarah. The first wave is bait. Lead them to the real battlefield." Using advanced hyperlane simulations, the human fleet lured the enemy into the Clythar Nebula, a volatile region of space dense with electromagnetic storms and collapsing stars. Trion and Kryn ships, confident in their numerical superiority, followed blindly. Inside the nebula, the humans unleashed the Oblivion Protocol, an apex strategy developed in secret. Automated gravitational distorters shifted massive stellar debris, cutting off escape routes. Microwarp strike units attacked from impossible angles. Energy pulses scrambled enemy sensors, leaving their formations fragmented. The Trion commander's crystalline facets shattered in shock. They predicted every maneuver, before we even made them." Elias's voice cut across subspace, calm yet unyielding. "Not prediction. Anticipation. Humans survive by thinking 3 steps ahead, by turning chaos into opportunity. You cannot outthink us, not even together." A Kryn dreadnought attempted a desperate jump to hyperspace, only to find the exit points blocked by phased human ships. One by one, Trion and Kryn vessels fell into traps designed with precision and patience. Entire fleets were immobilized by gravitational loops, energy nets, and coordinated strikes from hidden human squads. Amid the chaos, a shocking revelation unfolded. Some Trion ships had begun to surrender voluntarily, their leaders acknowledging the futility of fighting humans. Across the galaxy, the signal sent shockwaves. Human ingenuity could bend even the strongest powers. Back on the Aurora, Elias looked at his officers. "This is more than survival. This is a lesson. Every alien that doubted humanity now knows the truth. We endure. We innovate. And we conquer, not with brute force but with mind and will." Yet the human victory was tempered by the cost. Several ships had been lost and every crew member was pushed to their limits. But the lesson had been delivered. Across the galaxy, intelligence reports confirmed the Trion Dominion's central command was fractured, the Kryn Federation hesitated, and the Andari began openly negotiating alliances with humans, not out of fear but respect. Elias activated the comms to the Trion flagship one last time. "This is your final warning. Humanity does not seek war, but we do not back down. Choose peace, learn from this and survive. Refuse and your dominance ends today." The Trion commander's voice trembled for the first time in centuries. "Humans, you are unlike anything. We cannot control you, we cannot predict you." Elias's smile was faint, calm and victorious. "Exactly. And that is why humans will endure long after others fall. The final reckoning had ended. Humanity had survived overwhelming odds, outsmarted galaxy-wide coalitions, and demonstrated intelligence and adaptability unmatched by any species. Their reputation was cemented. Humans were apex strategists, apex survivors, and apex innovators. In the quiet aftermath, Elias gazed at the stars, thinking of Earth. "We've won battles, yes," he said softly. "But more importantly, we've proven a truth that no alien, no coalition, and no empire can deny. Humans are the measure of intelligence, adaptability, and cunning in this galaxy. And we will continue to rise." Somewhere, across fractured star systems and shattered fleets, alien minds began recalculating everything they thought they knew. One question echoed in every corner of the galaxy: how do you fight a species that cannot be predicted, controlled, or underestimated? And humanity as always had the answer: you don't. You survive. You adapt. And you win. The galaxy had changed. Worlds that once scoffed at humanity now whispered in awe. Fleets that had assumed superiority now recalculated every assumption. And humans, once underestimated and dismissed, had proven that survival, intelligence, and ingenuity were more powerful than sheer size or technology. On board the Aurora, Captain Elias Novak stood before the command deck, surveying a galaxy in flux. Reports streamed in from every system. The Trian Dominion Central Command fractured, the Kryn Federation hesitant to act, and the Andari Conclave now openly negotiating alliances with humanity. Every move, every strategy, every risk taken over countless battles had led to this moment. "Captain," Admiral Liarachin said, her voice calm but filled with awe, "all major fleets in the Caldrus Expanse are reporting restraint. Even the Trian are holding fire. They are negotiating." Elias nodded. "Not negotiating out of weakness. They are negotiating out of respect and fear. Fear that humans are not a species to be predicted or defeated without ingenuity, patience, and sacrifice." The first diplomatic step was delicate. Humans convened a galactic summit on the neutral planet of Solara Prime, a vibrant world of endless seas and emerald continents, chosen to be a neutral ground between alien powers. Ambassadors from dozens of civilizations arrived. Trian envoys, still shimmering with fractured crystalline facets, approached warily. Kryn strategists observed from their orbital platforms. Even the Andari, with their translucent, shifting skins, remained alert but cooperative. Elias addressed the summit, his voice calm, resonant, and commanding. "We have survived where others doubted us. We have endured where others assumed victory. And now we stand not as conquerors, but as exemplars of ingenuity, strategy, and resilience. Humanity does not seek to dominate by force. We seek to prove that intelligence, creativity, and adaptability define supremacy." The room was silent, every being listening intently. It was not arrogance, Elias did not boast, but certainty tempered by experience, that spoke louder than any weapon. A Trian elder, facets flickering with restrained emotion, stepped forward. "Humans, you are unlike any race we have faced. You survived impossible odds, outthought our greatest fleets, and endured our most cunning traps. Perhaps we misjudged your species. Perhaps we can learn from you." The Kryn representative, Commander Drash, gave a rare nod. "Your victory was not brute force. It was strategy, anticipation, and unorthodox tactics. We will respect this demonstration, but humanity's rise will not go unchecked. You have proven worthy." Across the summit, other species murmured. Human ingenuity had become the standard against which intelligence was now measured. Humanity's reputation as apex strategists was cemented. And yet, even in triumph, humans remained humble. "This is not the end," Elias said. "Our survival and success demonstrate one truth. Underestimation is the greatest weakness a species can have. We will continue to grow, to innovate, and to challenge the limits of intelligence itself. But we extend a hand to those willing to learn, to cooperate, and to rise above fear." Outside the summit halls, human diplomats orchestrated alliances that reshaped interstellar politics. Systems previously isolated were now connected by mutual defense pacts. Trade routes were secured. Intelligence sharing agreements, technological exchanges, and cooperative exploration programs expanded humanity's influence without domination. Yet there was a final, ingenious maneuver, one that would ensure humanity's apex status without firing another shot. Elias had anticipated lingering resentment from the Trian and Kryn, potential sabotage from smaller factions, and the ever-present risk of rebellion. His solution was subtle, brilliant, and quintessentially human. The Aurora, along with hidden fleets, deployed a network of strategic mirrors across key hyperlanes. These devices, invisible and undetectable, could simulate fleet movements, manipulate sensor readings, and create the illusion of overwhelming human presence anywhere in the galaxy. Any race attempting to threaten humanity would believe they were walking into an unbeatable trap, forcing caution, diplomacy, or cooperation. Elias explained it privately to Sarah and Malak. We have shown strength in open combat, intelligence in strategy, and cunning in diplomacy. Now we ensure survival with perception. A species that cannot be predicted cannot be challenged lightly. That is the ultimate apex advantage. Across the galaxy, the effect was immediate. Systems that considered rebellion or aggression against humans paused, recalculated, and ultimately chose negotiation. Human influence expanded not through conquest, but through fear of underestimation, strategic brilliance, and the undeniable proof of capability. Finally, as the summit concluded, Elias addressed his crew aboard the Aurora, voice filled with quiet pride. You have survived impossible odds, faced the galaxy's finest, and emerged not only intact but respected. Remember this, humans are not the strongest, the fastest, or the oldest species, but we are the cleverest. And that is why in every corner of the stars humanity will endure and excel where others cannot. Sarah smiled, her eyes reflecting the endless stars. Captain, we've done it. We've proven what humanity truly is. Elias looked out at the stars, the infinite expanse of space that had once seemed so intimidating. We have. And the galaxy knows it now. Humans are a force of intelligence, ingenuity, and resilience. We are underestimated no longer. And so, humanity's legacy was secured. Across fractured fleets, alien empires, and wary civilizations, one truth echoed: humans cannot be predicted, underestimated, or controlled. They had survived annihilation, outsmarted superior powers, and reshaped galactic politics. They had turned underestimation into a weapon, intelligence into supremacy, and adaptability into legend. In the void between stars, Captain Elias Novak smiled. Humanity had not just survived, they had triumphed ingeniously, brilliantly, and irreversibly. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. And that was the greatest victory of all.